is your child or teenager doing right now? Are they watching TV with you or out with friends? Or are they sat on the computer playing games? The gaming craze is sweeping across the world and has captured children and teenagers. Instead of going out and playing football, going swimming, and doing social things, they are battling each other in intergalactic space battles or shooting at each other in real-to-life environments. Gaming is becoming an increasing problem among young people because of its addictive nature. Kids are not getting the psychological stimulation they would get from being out with friends and socialising. This can have damaging effects. But can someone become addicted to video games?
The typical symptoms of any addiction are the same for everybody. The person addicted simply needs more of whatever the object is over time, be it the game playing or a drug.
Ever thought what the biggest selling electrical product of all time is? Well, it comes straight from the gaming industry. Sony's PlayStation is the biggest seller to date and could well be for a long time. The gaming industry started out with a few small companies, many of which are still around today. The company Sega was created by a Korean War veteran because he saw the popularity of the coin-operated machines on the military bases. This is really where it all stemmed from. After this, different companies started producing the games that we could have come to know as classic games, such as Asteroids, Space Invaders, and Pong. The gaming industry today is massive, even bigger than Hollywood, with more than 50 million people buying products in Europe alone. As a result of this, the companies are getting tremendous amounts of money so they can put more of it into producing mind-blowing games. Making a game is much like making a movie. They have teams of people working on pre-production, design, programming, marketing and post-production. They take years to make and cost millions of pounds. This means that the games these days are getting what people in the industry call real to life. Real to life means that objects, people and locations in games look, sound and act like they would in the real world. The attraction to games for many people is this real to life aspect. Real to life games can have large psychological effects on people.
Psychological effects that a game or games can have on people it can actually raise their adrenaline level, so their anxiety state can actually raise because of it. It will activate the fight or flight system, so in other words we feel excited, just as we would as a fairground ride. On top of that though, depending on the nature of the game, for instance a typical sort of first person shoot 'em up, there's also an excitement drawn towards the hunt as we would as 100,000 years ago.
It's hard to imagine that only a few years ago the only way to play games with your friends was to sit in the same room at home with them on a home-based console or at an arcade. These days, everywhere you look there are games and almost everyone has access to them. This is all due to the handheld gaming boom. The latest craze in gaming is the online gaming scene. Online gaming can be played two ways. There is a standard play where the player joins a game with another player. This interaction with real people is what gives the gamer the drive to play.
It is fun because you can talk to your friends on certain games where they have the built-in system, so you don't have to use a system called TeamSpeak, which is servers where you go in and use your microphone to talk to people. You can do this on Counter-Strike by pressing the button X, and you can talk to your friends while killing others.
The other way is to play a fully online game. This is where the player pays a monthly bill to play, but instead of playing lots of different small games, it is one whole game. The most popular fully online game is World of Warcraft by Blizzard Entertainment. There is a division in the psychological community because a lot of people do not think that gaming addiction is a real addiction.
I think the jury's still out. A lot of it boils down to the hard dictionary terminology of what an addiction is, that needing of something more over time. I think an addictive personality, by way of somebody who is more, shall we say, obsessive, compulsive, can be drawn into something and need more and more of it by way of a stimulant to them because they find it exciting or they get the adrenaline rush from it.
They don't think that people can become addicted to games. They do believe that gamers can become obsessive compulsive towards games.
No, I don't feel the need to play video games, but it is nice to play video games.
The most extreme symptoms of obsessive compulsive gaming are carpal tunnel syndrome, back and neck ache, headache, dry eyes, and failure to eat regularly and keep good personal hygiene. The effects on children and adults are different. The effects on adults are more psychological than those on children because adults will show more emotional attachment to the games and characters in them.
I think different age groups are affected differently simply by the ability to understand what's going on within yourself in relation to your environment, and that is something that's gained over time as we grow and develop. If you consider that when we're born we don't necessarily have an intellect as such, and that develops over the course of our life until we hit puberty and then hit 16, 18, those sort of times when we become an adult human being. At that time we understand that what's going on in that screen isn't real, although at the time of playing we can really enjoy it and get into it by using our imaginations, which still affects our base functions in the same way as a real event. Younger children don't have that ability to understand that what's on screen isn't necessarily real in the real world, and the younger they get, the edges of that may be blurred.
People can become sad or even depressed when they get a game over or a character dies. In the most extreme cases, people's family life can be replaced by their fantasy life.
Well, I would rather go out with my friends, but sometimes after you've been with people all day at college, it's nice to come home, get online and just take your rage out on video games.
There are psychological effects from playing games, but they are over-exaggerated by the media and older generation.
The media twists the stories, so it gives a negative aspect on the games. A lot of negativity from the media, like one a few years ago, was the Grand Theft Auto Vice City game, where two boys stole their father's sniper rifle, hid on a hill next to a motorway and were shooting at cars. This actually shot a woman in the car.